I'm so glad you're here with us today. We're diving deep into A Course in Miracles, and if you're just joining our community, you might be wondering what this course is all about. I'd love to invite you to check out the very first video on this channel, where I break down exactly what A Course in Miracles is, how it came to exist, and why it's been transforming lives for over 5 decades. It'll give you the perfect foundation for everything we explore together here. Now, let me ask you something. Think about the last person you interacted with today. Maybe it was someone at work, someone in your family, a stranger at the store, someone you passed on the street. How did you see them? Really, how did you see them? Did you see a body, a personality, a role they play in your life? Did you see someone who could help you or hurt you? Someone who could give you what you need or take something away from you? Did you see them as separate from you, as someone other, someone outside yourself? Here's what A Course in Miracles wants you to understand. Every single encounter you have is either bringing you closer to God or keeping you trapped in the ego's illusion. There is no neutral ground. There are no meaningless interactions. Every time you meet someone, even for just a moment, you are making a choice. You are deciding whether this will be a holy encounter or an unholy one. And that choice determines not just the quality of that interaction, but your entire experience of reality in that moment. Most of us go through our days completely unaware of this. We think some encounters matter and others don't. We think the big relationships are important and the casual interactions are insignificant. We meet people all day long without ever considering that each meeting is an opportunity for salvation or a reinforcement of separation. But the truth is, every encounter is sacred. Every meeting is significant. Every interaction is a chance to remember who you are and who the other person truly is. Today, we're exploring Section 3 of Chapter 8 in A Course in Miracles, the Holy Encounter. And this section is going to transform the way you see every person you meet for the rest of your life. Because A Course in Miracles teaches that you are never just meeting another person. You are meeting yourself. You are meeting an aspect of the one Son of God. You are being given an opportunity to see beyond the illusion of separation to the light that connects you to everyone and everything. But here's what makes this so challenging. The ego doesn't want you to have holy encounters. The ego wants every meeting to reinforce separation, to prove that you are alone, that others are different from you, that some people are guilty and some are innocent, that you need to protect yourself, judge carefully, and keep your distance. The ego uses every encounter to build its case for separation. And if you're not conscious, if you're not paying attention, you'll go along with it. You'll meet people through the ego's eyes without even realizing you're doing it. The Holy Spirit, on the other hand, sees every encounter as an opportunity for healing, every meeting as a chance to remember unity, every interaction as a sacred moment where truth can be recognized and love can be extended. The Holy Spirit knows that when you truly see another person, when you look past the body and the personality and the role they play, you see the light of Christ. And in seeing that light in them, you remember the light in yourself. This isn't about being nice or polite or spiritually correct. This is about salvation. This is about waking up from the dream of separation. This is about recognizing that you are not alone, that you have never been alone, that separation is impossible because we are all one in God. So today, we're going to look at what makes an encounter unholy and what makes it holy. We're going to understand how the ego uses relationships to keep you trapped and how the Holy Spirit uses them to set you free. And we're going to discover practical ways to bring this vision into your daily life, to transform every meeting into an opportunity for healing, every interaction into a chance to choose love over fear. Because here's the truth. You are surrounded by opportunities for salvation every single day. Every person you meet is offering you a gift. Every encounter is inviting you to remember. The question is, are you willing to see it? Are you ready to meet people differently? Are you prepared to have holy encounters instead of reinforcing the ego's illusion of separation? This is where theory becomes practice. This is where the Course stops being something you study and becomes something you live. So open your heart, pay attention, and let's discover together what it means to have a truly holy encounter. Let's start by being brutally honest about how most of us actually interact with people. Because until you see what you're doing, you can't change it. And what most of us are doing, most of the time, is having unholy encounters. We're meeting people through the ego's eyes. And the ego has a very specific agenda in every interaction you have. The ego sees bodies. That's it. When you look at someone through the ego's vision, you don't see a spiritual being. You don't see the light of God. You don't see your holy companion on the journey home. You see a body, a form, something separate from you. And that body is either useful to you or threatening to you. Either it can give you what you want, or it might take something away. The ego evaluates every person based on what they can do for you or what they might do to you. This is what makes an encounter unholy. It's not about being mean or rude or obviously hostile. An unholy encounter happens anytime you see someone as separate from yourself, as fundamentally different, as other. It happens when you meet someone with an agenda, with needs you want them to fill, with judgments about who they are and what they should be doing. It happens when you look at someone and immediately start categorizing them, friend or enemy, useful or useless, attractive or unattractive, important or irrelevant. The ego uses relationships to reinforce the illusion of separation. Every interaction becomes evidence that you are alone, that others are outside you, that you need something from them that you don't have within yourself. And this creates what A Course in Miracles calls special relationships. These are relationships where you're using another person to complete you, to make you feel whole, to give you the love or validation or security that you think you lack. Special relationships feel intense. They feel important. The ego tells you they're proof of love, but they're actually prisons. Because in a special relationship, you're not really seeing the other person at all. You're seeing what you want them to be, what you need them to give you, how they fit into your plans and desires. And when they inevitably fail to meet your needs, when they don't play the role you assigned them, you feel hurt, betrayed, angry. The relationship that was supposed to make you whole just made you feel more broken. And here's what the ego does in every unholy encounter. It looks for guilt. It scans the other person for flaws, for mistakes, for reasons to judge them. Because if the ego can prove that someone else is guilty, it can temporarily convince you that you're innocent. If someone else is wrong, you must be right. If someone else is bad, you must be good. The ego uses encounters to build its case, to gather evidence, to justify its attacks and reinforce its defenses. This is exhausting. Think about how much mental energy you spend evaluating people, judging them, deciding whether they measure up, whether they're treating you right, whether they deserve your approval or your condemnation. The ego keeps you constantly busy with this process because it knows that as long as you're focused on seeing guilt in others, you won't look at the guilt you're carrying in yourself. And here's the devastating truth about unholy encounters. They always leave you feeling empty. Always. You might get a temporary boost from someone's praise, a momentary feeling of validation, a brief sense of connection. But it doesn't last. It can't last. Because the whole encounter was based on illusion, on the false belief that you are separate, that you lack something, that another person can give you what only God can give you. The ego promises that the next relationship will be different, that the next encounter will finally fill the emptiness inside you. But it never does, because you're looking for love in all the wrong places. You're seeking completion in separation. You're trying to find wholeness in bodies, and it's impossible. The ego's entire system is designed to keep you seeking and never finding, always hungry, always unsatisfied, always alone. This is what you're doing when you're not conscious. This is the default mode of interaction in a world run by the ego. But it doesn't have to be this way. There is another possibility. There is a holy encounter, and that's what we're going to explore next. Now let's talk about what changes everything. Let's talk about what transforms an ordinary interaction into a sacred moment, what turns a casual meeting into an opportunity for salvation. Let's talk about the holy encounter. A holy encounter happens when you meet someone through the Holy Spirit's eyes instead of the ego's. And here's the beautiful thing. It doesn't require the other person to do anything different. It doesn't depend on their behavior, their awareness, or their spiritual development. A holy encounter is entirely about your choice, your perception, your willingness to see differently. You can have a holy encounter with anyone, anywhere, anytime. All that's required is your decision to see beyond the body to the light within. Peace be with you. So what does the Holy Spirit see when you meet someone? He sees Christ. He sees the Holy Son of God, perfect and innocent, exactly as God created him. He sees the light that can never be dimmed, the truth that can never be lost, the love that remains untouched by anything that happens in this world. The Holy Spirit doesn't see the personality, the history, the mistakes, the achievements, the body, the form. He sees only the eternal, changeless reality of who this person truly is. And when you're willing to see through the Holy Spirit's vision, even for just a moment, everything shifts. The person in front of you is no longer separate from you. You're no longer evaluating, judging, using, or defending. You're simply recognizing the same light in them that exists in you. Recognizing that you are not two separate beings, but one unified creation of God. Recognizing that what you give to them, you give to yourself. What you see in them, you strengthen in yourself. This is the purpose of every holy encounter, to remember unity, to undo the illusion of separation, to experience, even briefly, the truth that we are all connected, all one, all part of the same whole. Every holy encounter is a step toward awakening, a moment of clarity in the dream of separation, a glimpse of heaven while you still believe you're on earth. And here's what makes this so powerful. The Holy Spirit doesn't just change how you see the other person. He changes how you see yourself. Because when you look at someone and see the light of Christ, when you recognize their innocence and their holiness, you're simultaneously recognizing your own. You can't see holiness in another without experiencing it in yourself. You can't extend love without receiving it. This is the law of the mind. What you give, you have. What you see, you are. Holy encounters are opportunities for mutual healing. Not because you're fixing the other person or they're fixing you, but because you're both remembering truth together. When you meet someone in holiness, you're offering them the gift of being truly seen, perhaps for the first time in a long time. You're not looking at their mistakes or their masks. You're not measuring them against your needs or expectations. You're simply seeing them as they are in truth, the beloved of God, innocent and whole. And they feel this. Maybe not consciously, maybe not in words, but somewhere deep inside, they feel the difference. They feel seen. They feel loved. They feel safe. And in that moment, healing happens. Not dramatic, not obvious, but real. The walls come down, the defenses soften, the fear recedes. And for that moment, you're both experiencing what it's like to be home. Now here's what's radical about this teaching. A Course in Miracles says that every encounter is a chance to choose again. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday, what the history is, what roles you've been playing. In this moment, you can decide to see differently. You can choose to have a holy encounter with someone you've been judging for years. You can choose to see the light in someone who's hurt you. You can choose to recognize Christ in someone the ego has labeled as enemy. This doesn't mean you ignore harmful behavior. It doesn't mean you let people mistreat you. It means you understand that the behavior and the person are not the same thing. The behavior comes from fear, from the ego, from the mistaken belief in separation. But the person, the real person, remains as God created them, perfect, innocent, and holy. And when you can see that truth, When you can hold that vision, even while setting healthy boundaries, you're having a holy encounter. The gift you give is the gift you receive. When you offer someone the vision of their holiness, you strengthen your awareness of your own holiness. When you choose to see love instead of attack, unity instead of separation, innocence instead of guilt, you're not being naive or weak. You're being powerful. You're choosing truth over illusion. You're aligning with the Holy Spirit instead of the ego. And that choice transforms everything. So how do you actually do this? How do you take this beautiful teaching about holy encounters and make it real in your everyday life? Because it's one thing to understand the concept, and it's another thing entirely to live it when you're stuck in traffic, dealing with a difficult coworker, arguing with family, or facing someone who's genuinely hurt you. Let me give you something practical. Before you meet anyone, before you walk into a room, before you answer the phone, before you open that email, take a moment, just a single moment. And in that moment, ask the Holy Spirit to help you see this person through His eyes. You can use a simple prayer. Let me see only the light in you. Or, help me see the truth in this person. Or simply, Holy Spirit, show me how to see. This one small practice, this tiny pause before engaging, changes everything. Because here's what happens when you prepare your mind. You're making a conscious choice about who your teacher will be in this encounter. You're choosing the Holy Spirit instead of the ego. You're setting your intention to see holiness instead of guilt, unity instead of separation, love instead of fear. And that intention, that willingness, is all the Holy Spirit needs to work with. He takes your little willingness and transforms your perception. Now, let's be honest. This gets really challenging in difficult relationships. It's relatively easy to have a holy encounter with a stranger at the coffee shop. It's much harder to see the light in someone who's been criticizing you, disappointing you, or actively working against you. But this is exactly where holy encounters become most powerful. This is where real healing happens. When you're facing someone who triggers you, someone the ego has labeled as guilty or wrong or harmful, that's your greatest opportunity. Because if you can choose to see holiness there, if you can look past the behavior to the light within, you're undoing the ego's thought system at its deepest level. You're proving to yourself that love is stronger than fear, that truth is more real than illusion, that nothing anyone does can change what they truly are. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. It doesn't mean you accept abuse or allow harmful behavior to continue. You can set boundaries. You can remove yourself from toxic situations. You can protect yourself when necessary. But you do it from a place of peace, not attack. You do it while still holding the vision of the other person's holiness. You separate the behavior from the being. You respond to the fear with love, not with more fear. And here's what's miraculous. When you have a holy encounter with someone, it doesn't just affect you and them. It affects everyone. Every holy encounter sends ripples of healing throughout the entire sonship. Because we're all connected. We're all one mind. When you choose love in one relationship, you strengthen love everywhere. When you see innocence in one person, you make it easier for everyone to remember their own innocence. Think about your daily life, your family interactions, your work relationships, those casual encounters at the grocery store, the gym, the bank. Every single one of these is an opportunity. Every conversation is a chance to choose holiness. Every interaction is a moment where you can decide, will I reinforce separation or remember unity? Will I judge or will I love? Will I attack or will I heal? And the beautiful thing is, it gets easier. The more you practice seeing through the Holy Spirit's eyes, the more natural it becomes. You start catching yourself before you judge. You notice when the ego is trying to take over. You become quicker to choose forgiveness, faster to see the light, more willing to extend love. The holy encounter stops being something you have to work at and starts being your default way of relating to people. This is what it means to live as though every meeting matters. Because it does. Every encounter is either helping you wake up or keeping you asleep. Every interaction is either bringing you closer to God or maintaining the illusion of separation. There are no neutral encounters. There are no meaningless interactions. Every person you meet today is offering you an opportunity to remember who you are. And the cumulative effect of this practice is transformation. Not just in your relationships, but in your entire experience of life. When you consistently choose holy encounters, when you make it a habit to see the light in everyone you meet, you start living in a different world. Not because the external world has changed, but because your perception has changed. You're seeing heaven instead of hell. You're recognizing love instead of fear. You're experiencing unity instead of separation. So today, right now, you can begin. The next person you encounter, choose to see them differently. Look for the light. Remember their holiness. Offer them the gift of being truly seen. And in that moment, you'll discover that the gift you gave them was actually a gift you gave yourself. Because in a holy encounter, there is no giver and receiver. There is only one self, recognizing itself in another form, remembering that separation was never real, coming home to the truth of unity. So let's bring this all together. We've seen the difference between unholy encounters and holy encounters. We've looked honestly at how the ego uses every interaction to reinforce separation, to prove guilt, to keep you trapped in the illusion that you're alone. And we've discovered that the Holy Spirit offers you a completely different way of meeting people, seeing beyond the body to the light within, recognizing Christ in everyone you meet, choosing unity over separation, love over fear. We've explored what makes an encounter holy. Not the other person's behavior, not their awareness or willingness, but your choice, your decision to see through the Holy Spirit's eyes, your willingness to look past the surface to the truth beneath. And we've seen that every holy encounter is an opportunity for mutual healing, a chance to remember that we are one, a step toward awakening from the dream of separation. And we've talked about how to actually live this, how to prepare your mind before meeting anyone, how to practice seeing the light even in difficult relationships, how to transform every interaction from the most intimate to the most casual into a sacred moment. Because every encounter matters. Every person you meet is offering you a gift. Every interaction is a chance to choose again. Here's what I want you to remember. You are never just meeting another person. You are meeting yourself. You are being given an opportunity to see your own holiness reflected back to you. You are being invited to remember that separation is impossible, that we are all connected, that love is the only reality. And the choice is always yours. In every encounter, you can choose the ego's vision or the Holy Spirit's vision. You can choose fear or love. You can choose imprisonment or freedom. This teaching changes everything. When you start seeing every person as a holy encounter, when you recognize that every interaction is sacred, your whole life transforms. Not because circumstances change, but because your perception changes. You start living in a world of light instead of darkness, unity instead of separation, love instead of fear. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your willingness to see differently, to choose holy encounters, to be part of the healing of the world. Every time you choose to see the light in someone, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping all of us. Because we're all connected. Your healing is my healing. Your awakening is our awakening. We're in this together. If this message touched your heart, if it helped you see your relationships differently, if it gave you a new way to approach the people in your life, please hit that like button. It helps this teaching reach more people who are ready to choose love over fear, holiness over separation. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that now. We're exploring A Course in Miracles together every single day, diving deep into these life-changing teachings, learning how to apply them in practical ways. This is just the beginning of the journey, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Share this video with someone who needs this message, someone who's struggling in their relationships, someone who's forgotten how to see the light in people, someone who's ready to transform every encounter into a holy moment. You might be offering them exactly what they need to hear right now, and please leave a comment below. Tell me about your experience with holy encounters. Share a moment when you chose to see differently and everything shifted. Ask questions. This community is built on people who are choosing to wake up together, and your voice matters here. Remember, every person you meet today is offering you salvation. Every encounter is an invitation to remember who you are. The ACourseIMiracles question is, will you accept it? Will you choose to see the light? Will you have holy encounters? I'll see you in the next video. Until then, look for the light in everyone. See Christ in every face. Choose holiness in every interaction. Peace be with you.